Hey everyone, it's Jorvanita here, and in this video, we're diving deep into the world of contracts and the essential documents you need to secure those deals like a pro. Whether you're just starting out or you're a seasoned entrepreneur, having the right paperwork in place is absolutely crucial for protecting yourself and your business. We'll be breaking down each document step by step so you understand exactly what it is, why you need it, and how to use it to your advantage. Think of it like this. Contracts are the foundation of any successful business relationship. They outline everyone's responsibilities, set clear expectations, and help prevent misunderstandings down the line. And trust me, having these documents in order can save you a ton of headaches, potential legal battles, and even financial losses in the long run. Without further ado, let's jump right into the first document on our list, the proposal document. Alright, so you're ready to land that big client? It all starts with a killer proposal. This document is your first impression, your chance to showcase your expertise and convince the client that you're the perfect fit for their needs. Now, a well-structured proposal includes a few key elements. First, you've got your introduction, where you introduce yourself and your company, highlighting your experience and what makes you stand out from the competition. Next up is the scope of work, where you clearly outline the services you'll be providing. Be specific here, guys. Break down the project into manageable tasks and timelines. Speaking of timelines, you'll want to include a realistic schedule for completing the project. This shows the client that you're organized and you value their time. And of course, we can't forget about pricing. Be transparent about your fees, whether it's an hourly rate, a project-based fee, or a retainer agreement. And finally, outline your terms and conditions. This includes things like payment schedules, late fees, and any other relevant details. Remember, each client is unique, so tailor your proposals accordingly. Highlight relevant experience, showcase case studies, and really speak directly to their pain points. Make sure your proposal is visually appealing too. Use high-quality graphics, clear formatting, and concise language. And most importantly, proofread everything carefully. Typos and grammatical errors scream unprofessionalism. By following these tips, you'll craft a compelling proposal that grabs the client's attention and sets the stage for a successful partnership. Now, let's move on to another crucial document. The non-disclosure agreement. So you're about to share confidential information with a potential client or partner. This is where the non-disclosure agreement, or NDA, comes in. An NDA is a legally binding contract that protects sensitive information from being disclosed to third parties. Think of it like a legal shield for your trade secrets, client lists, financial data, or any other information that gives your business a competitive edge. NDAs are particularly important during contract negotiations, where you might be sharing sensitive details about your operations. Now, a well-drafted NDA will include a few key components. First, you've got your confidentiality clauses, which clearly define what information is considered confidential and who is permitted to access it. Next up is the duration of the agreement. This specifies how long the confidentiality obligations will remain in effect. You'll also want to outline the penalties for breaching the agreement. This could include financial damages, legal action, or other remedies. Drafting an NDA doesn't have to be complicated. Keep the language clear and concise, avoid legal jargon, and be specific about the information being protected. You can even find free NDA templates online, but I always recommend having an attorney review any legal document before you sign it. Remember, an NDA is a two-way street. It protects both parties involved and ensures that everyone's confidential information remains secure. Now let's move on to the Master Service Agreement, or MSA. The Master Service Agreement, or MSA, is like the holy grail of contracts for long-term business relationships. Imagine having a single, overarching agreement that governs all future projects or transactions with a particular client. That's exactly what an MSA does. Instead of negotiating a new contract for every single project, you have a master agreement in place that outlines the general terms of your collaboration. This includes things like payment terms, intellectual property rights, confidentiality, and dispute resolution. Having an MSA in place streamlines the entire contracting process, saving you time, money, and a whole lot of paperwork down the line. It also provides consistency and predictability for both parties, fostering a stronger, more trusting business relationship. Now, let's talk about some key sections of an MSA. You'll want to clearly define the scope of work, outlining the general types of services you'll be providing. Next up, specify your payment terms, including payment schedules, invoicing procedures, and any late payment penalties. Don't forget to outline the timelines for delivering your services, as well as any procedures for extending deadlines or handling project delays. And finally, include termination clauses that specify the grounds for terminating the agreement and the procedures for doing so. An MSA is a powerful tool for simplifying complex business relationships. So, if you're working with a client on an ongoing basis, I highly recommend putting one in place. Now let's move on to the statement of work, or SOW. Alright, so you've got your master service agreement in place, but how do you define the specifics of each individual project? That's where the statement of work, or SOW, comes in. The SOW is a detailed document that outlines the specific tasks, deliverables, timelines, and responsibilities for a particular project. Think of it like a blueprint that provides a clear roadmap for both you and your client. The SOW ensures that everyone is on the same page and helps prevent scope creep, which is when the project requirements gradually expand beyond the original agreement. Now let's talk about some tips for writing a killer SOW. First and foremost, be detailed. Clearly define each task or deliverable, leaving no room for ambiguity. Specify the acceptance criteria for each deliverable, meaning how the client will determine if the work meets their expectations. Outline realistic timelines for completing each task and the overall project. Clearly define the roles and responsibilities of each team member involved. And finally, use clear, concise language that's easy for everyone to understand. Remember, the SOW is all about clarity and precision. The more detailed you are, the less likely you are to encounter misunderstandings or disputes down the line. Now let's move on to the final binding contract. We've covered a lot of ground, but now it's time to talk about the final binding contract, the document that officially seals the deal. This is where everything we've discussed so far comes together. The contract outlines the rights, responsibilities, and obligations of both parties involved. It's the legal framework for your entire business relationship, so it's crucial to get it right. Now let's talk about some common clauses you'll find in most contracts. First up, we've got payment terms. This section outlines the total cost of the project or services, the payment schedule, and any late payment penalties. Next, you'll want to define the milestones for the project, along with the payment schedule tied to each milestone. It's also essential to address intellectual property rights. Who owns the copyright to the work being produced? How will the work be used? And of course, we need to talk about dispute resolution. How will disagreements or disputes be handled? Will you use mediation, arbitration, or litigation? A well-written contract protects both parties involved. It ensures that everyone is on the same page, outlines clear expectations, and provides a framework for resolving disputes amicably. Now let's move on to the final category of documents: insurance certificates and proof of compliance. Alright, so we've covered the essential contracts, but there's one more category of documents you need to be aware of: insurance certificates and proof of compliance. These documents demonstrate your professionalism and commitment to ethical business practices. Let's start with insurance. Depending on your industry and the nature of your work, you may be required to carry certain types of insurance, such as general liability insurance, professional liability insurance, or workers' compensation insurance. These policies protect you from financial losses in case of accidents, property damage, or lawsuits. Now, when a client asks for proof of insurance, they're simply asking for a document that verifies your coverage. This document, called a certificate of insurance, outlines your policy limits, effective dates, and other key details. Having the right insurance coverage not only protects you from financial ruin, but also demonstrates to your clients that you're a responsible and trustworthy business owner. Next up, let's talk about compliance. Certain industries, such as healthcare, finance, or construction, have strict regulations and licensing requirements. You may need to provide proof of compliance to demonstrate that you meet these standards. This could include things like business licenses, permits, certifications, or other relevant documentation. Providing proof of compliance is often a prerequisite for securing contracts, especially with larger corporations or government agencies. By having these documents readily available, you demonstrate your professionalism, build trust with your clients, and streamline the contracting process. Now let's wrap things up with the outro. There you have it. We've covered the essential documents you need to master contracts and secure those deals like a pro. From the initial proposal to the final agreement, each document plays a crucial role in protecting your business and fostering strong client relationships. Remember, having these documents in place not only mitigates your risk, but also builds trust and credibility with your clients. It shows them that you're serious about your business and committed to upholding your end of the bargain. So, stay organized, be proactive, and don't be afraid to seek legal advice when needed. And as always, if you found this video helpful, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more business tips, and let me know in the comments what other contract-related questions you have. Until next time, keep crushing it.